So what's up, people? Let's talk about Rishi, long-time lead-out man of Mark Cavendish. Rishi is probably one of the best lead-out men in the peloton. In the ongoings of Mark Cavendish trying to find a new team, the deal that Cavendish had with Rishi is that he would take Rishi and SIWYL with him. But when he finally got to sign with Astana, which is probably why it took so long to sign, because those things usually happen pretty quickly, and it just took a little while for Mark Cavendish to sign. So we understand now why he took so long to sign, because in the time trying to sign, he was probably trying to get SIWYL Rishi. That's just an assumption. But he did sign, and SIWYL was the only one that Mark Cavendish was able to take with him over to Astana. Rishi was feeling in a way because Rishi was trying to contact Cavendish, what's going on? And Cavendish just basically stopped answering the phone, and so did Cavendish's agent. Rishi couldn't get in contact with either of them. Rishi goes on to say that he just would have been happy if you would have just like, yo, bro, I'm trying my hardest, but I just can't. They're not willing to take all three of us. They're only going to take myself and SIWYL. Mark Cavendish, all things go well, he'll be going for his 35th stage win of the Tour de France. So who were the winners of stage one of the San Juan stage race? And Sam Bennett looks like he's back to winning form. My man Peter Sagan was in 7th place. I went right down to 7th. In 2nd place was Michael Markov, who rides for Sedal Quick Step. 3rd place was Giacomo Nizola, and he rides for Israel Premier Tech. And 4th place was Danny Van Poppel, bought our Hensgrove again. And Danny Van Poppel was basically the leader man for Sam Bennett. So let's find out what's going on with Biniam Grimy. So Biniam Grimy, you see I pronounced it right. So what's cool is like about Biniam Grimy, so the big announcement is that he's going to be doing the Tour de France this year, so which is so cool. So he got a stage at the Giro d'Italia last year where he had to outsprint Matthew Ven Der Poel. That was cool. Matthew Ven Der Poel even congratulated him on the finish, like well done, because that was a tough sprint. It was a long sprint, but yeah, well done to Vinny and Matthew Ven Der Poel for entertaining us, keeping us entertained. So there's a bunch of races that he's doing. He done Milan-San Remo last year. He finished 12th in Milan-San Remo last year, and he's looking to, I guess, do a little bit better this year. Milan-San Remo is probably one of my favorite races. And it's a race that when I was racing and I was coming up, that I always dreamt about being able to do one day, but it just never came to pass. So he's also going to be doing Flanders for the first time, and he's also going to be doing Paris-Roubaix. So it's looking like he's going to be molded into like a really good one-day cyclist. So I mean, I'm not really expecting a whole lot from him this year. I just hoping that he enjoys the experience, finishes all his races, and that's what's going to be the key thing to him, learning how to win those races. What else is he going to be doing? I think I mentioned that his first race of the year is going to be Challenge Mallorca, which will be later this month. I believe it's late. Yeah, so it's going to be later this month. So which is preceding Omloop. Omloop is going to be the first. I think that's like the first big Belgian classic. He's going to be doing the E3 Saxo Bank. Well, it's not Saxo Bank anymore, but he's going to be doing E3 Saxo and a bunch of other Flanders races. So it looks like it's going to be a really interesting season for him. And hopefully no accidents like he had last year, which sent him home from the Giro d'Italia after the unfortunate accident with a cork from the wine bottle, the bottle of Prosecco. It wasn't wine, the bottle of Prosecco hit him in the eye. So that's it, Biniam Grimy. Cyclocross. Let's talk about Matthew Ven Der Poel and Wout Van Aert. So these guys are just in Benidorm, which was cool because that's what they're doing their winter training, so they didn't have to travel like afar to go anywhere, so they're already in Spain. So it's really cool. They had a massive crowd at this series of the World Cup. This was the last series of the World Cup. So let's talk about Shrek, and he was leading the series. So basically he wrapped up the series and he's going to be winner of the World Cup point series. So, and then next on to, back to Matthew Ven Der Poel and Wout Van Aert. The race in Benidorm is one of those really short finish straights. So basically, like in some criteria, it's basically the first person to get through the last corner is going to win the race. It's no way for you to come around. So basically, that's what it was in the race in Benidorm. They were going back and forth, and they were literally fighting each other to try and get in that last position just prior to that last corner. Mathieu Van Der Poel was able to get into the position. I mean, they fought really hard, and also in the ladies race was very similar as well. It came down to the wire as well. Like in the ladies race, it was between Pak Pieterse, Ven Der Poel, and basically Pak Pieterse and Ven Der Poel was able to get in front of Pieterse. Like Mathieu Van Der Poel and Wout Van Aert, that race was like amazing because you had Eli Isabi. He was in the mix and he was at the front putting on the pace. Schwack was at the front putting on the pace. And when at the gun, Tom Pidcock took off. He was like, boom. I mean, like he came for business. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to sustain that early heavy pace that he set. And the terrain was definitely more for Tom Pidcock because of its mountain bike-ish type of feel to it. So he really liked it. He really took off. He burned one too many matches and he couldn't recover from it. So we end up finishing 5th because it was Mathieu Van Der Poel, Wout Van Aert, Schwack, Eliasby, and then Tom Pidcock. So that was the top 5 for Benidorm. So also in the San Juan news, we got to keep an eye on Egan Burnel because he has entered the Tour of San Juan. So basically that should be a really good battle between Remco Evenepoel and Egan Burnel, and I got to find out who else is there. So I haven't really looked at the list of riders. But this was to mention that Egan Burnel's main objective is the Tour de France. He hasn't done the Tour de France since 2019 when he won the Tour de France. He done the Tour de France in 2020, but that's when he had his back injury. So yeah, he just didn't perform. Yeah, he just was in too much pain. The landscape has definitely changed. He will be riding against Tadej Pogačar and Jonas Vingegaard. So I think it's just talking about Remco Evenepoel. I think it's a good choice that Remco is actually going to ride the Giro instead of the Tour, because it'll just give him like he's done the Volta. Now he's taking a step up into the Giro and experiencing the Giro, and then the next thing is a Tour. So once we get all 4 of those guys on the Tour de France, it's going to be fire. The San Juan Tour is going on right now, so you can, check out Eurosport, GCN, check out the racing. I'll bring you what I can, but I'm only going to be bringing highlights. So some people are wondering how can they watch some of the races going on, like the major European races. So when I was in the US, you can't watch Eurosport. You buy a VPN, so it'll tell the computer or the website like Eurosport that you are in Europe, and then you can watch the Eurosport. So I like Eurosport because like in the bigger races, like they offer 2 options. They offer a channel that has commercials, if you don't mind, and then they offer a channel that has no commercials. Sometimes the color commentary is really good, like when they start like panning out on all of the scenic areas and stuff. So it's good to know like what those buildings and where that hill or what that mountain is. So yes, it's so it's nice to listen to that sometimes. That's how I look at all of the big races and stuff. Alrighty, hope that helps. SIWYL Media, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks. We got lots of stuff coming up.